Many of you guys who haven't bought Japanese real estate in the past, you may worry about costs associated with purchasing Japanese real estate. So I wanna talk about a little bit about the costs when you have to pay when you purchase a Japanese real estate. Okay, as I Japanese real estate agent, usually buyers need to pay commission to the agent like me, and the commission usually 3% of a purchase price plus 60,000 yen plus selling tax, which is 8%. So for example, if you buy, for example, 10 million yen property, you're gonna pay a commission as a 36 no 360,000 yen 360,000 yen plus 8% of selling tax. So your total so the total commission will be 388.8 thousand yen. So if you buy 10 million yen property in Japan, you usually pay a commission as a 388,000 yen to the real estate agent in Japan. So, and this commission is usually unnegotiable. For some agent, you can negotiate this amount, but most of the time, it's hard to negotiate. It's hard to discount this commission for the most of the time. And also, after you buy a Japanese real estate, after you buy a Japanese real estate, you have to pay tax to the local government. For example, you need to pay property tax, which is 1.4%, and also you need to pay city planning tax, which is 0.3%. And usually Japanese local government, local administration, they evaluate each separate properties. So how much they worth, they evaluate, and they not publish, but they decide property tax evaluation price for each properties, for each houses, for each section of land. And you have to pay. So for example, for a property tax which is 1.4% of this property tax evaluation price. And for the city planning tax, which is 0.3%, this means you need to pay 0.3% of property tax evaluation price for your property, for example, for your land or for your houses. And usually this property tax evaluation price is usually 70% of actual price of the property. So, for example, there is a house, and which price is, for example, 10 million yen, which price means selling price, trading price is 10 million yen, and for this house, usually property tax evaluation price for this property is about 7 million yen, and you need to pay 1.4% of this 1.4% of 7 million yen for the property tax, and you need to pay 0.3% of 7 million yen for city planning tax. You have to pay these taxes to the local government in Japan. And so you can get information how much the selling price for the Japanese properties, but usually you cannot get a this property tax evaluation price. You usually cannot get this price. You have to ask your agent, your Japanese real estate agent. You need to ask them how much your property tax evaluation price is, or you need to ask owners, sellers of properties, how much property tax evaluation prices are. You need to ask owners, or you need to ask Japanese real estate agents. Then you can calculate how much the taxes you gonna pay in the future. By the way, this property tax and city planning tax are annually. So each year you need to pay these taxes to the Japanese local government. Also, you need to pay real estate acquisition tax. This is only one time. You need to pay this real estate acquisition tax, which is 3% of property tax evaluation price. So I think you already know this property tax evaluation price is very important to calculate your tax amount, the tax how much tax you're gonna pay. So even owners usually don't know this property tax evaluation prices are. Usually owners don't know this price. So you're gonna ask real estate agent, and this real estate acquisition tax, you need to pay this tax usually within 6 months after you after your purchase of your Japanese real estate. Within 6 months, you will be asked by a local government to pay this real estate acquisition tax, which is 3% of property tax evaluation price. Yep. And when you buy Japanese real estate, you need to register your ownership, and if you can register your ownership by yourself. But for non-Japanese buyers, non-Japanese customers, it's very hard to register your ownership by yourself. So most of the time, you need to ask some kind of lawyers, which is called judicial scrivener. Judicial scrivener. I'm not familiar with this term, judicial scrivener. This judicial scrivener is kind of, I think this judicial scrivener is kind of lawyer who registrate your ownership to the government, to the Japanese government, and you also need to pay registration fees to these judicial scriveners, and these registration fees consists from two costs. The first one is registration tax. Registration tax is 2% of, again, your property tax evaluation price. And also the second part is commission for judicial scriveners. So registration fees usually consist from a registration tax, which is 2% of property tax evaluation price, plus commission for your judicial scriveners. And these commissions for judicial scriveners are not determined by laws. So judicial scriveners can ask you any price, any fees, because these fees are not, there's no limit regulated by any law. So judicial scriveners freely ask you any registration fees. But usually commissions for the judicial scriveners are less than registration tax. So if you wanna estimate registration fees, so I advise you that uh, so you once you get property tax evaluation price, you can calculate registration tax, which is 2% of this evaluation price. So once you get the registration tax amount, you can double the amount, and I think which is the maximum uh, total registration fees for the judicial scriveners. Yeah. Usually, judicial scriveners uh, pay your registration tax instead of you. So when judicial scriveners ask you registration fees, that registration fees consists from registration tax and commissions. So you don't need to pay this registration tax by yourself, because judicial scriveners will pay your registration tax instead of you. So and yeah, so when you register your ownership, you these judicial scriveners will register your name and your address. But so if you are outside of Japan, for example, if you are living in US, your name and your address in US will be registered in this Japanese ownership system. So you don't have to get address in Japan, and also so for example, if you get like, I don't know, in many other countries, out of countries, I think you can get like, okay, to know to know your address and name. Most of the time, you need to show to these judicial scriveners your residential certificate, residential certificate in your countries. And in your residential certificate, usually that shows your name and your address. But you don't have to translate your name and your address in Japanese. All you have to do is you just show your real residential certificate to these judicial scriveners, because they or I can translate your residential certificate into a Japanese, so you don't need to worry about it. But I know in US you cannot get yeah, okay, if you are Americans, in US you cannot get a residential certificate. Instead of residential certificate, I think you need to get the uh, affidavit. I don't know this is a correct. I think I don't know this. My pronunciation is correct, but if you are Americans, you need to get affidavit from notary public, and which is kind of a residential certificate for Americans. So okay, if you are Americans, please ask me. Please ask me. What kind of documents you need when you buy a Japanese real estate. But yeah, usually you because I don't know the system of a notary public in US actually. So to be honest, but your affidavit you need to show your address in US, also your name, of course. So your affidavit should include your name and address, and you need to get such affidavit from a notary public. I mean, your affidavit need to be notarized. Yeah. That is only in US, I think. In many other countries, you simply get your residential certificate. So and then I can translate your residential certificate into Japanese, or many Japanese judicial scriveners. They also can translate your residential certificate into Japanese to registrate your name and your address in Japan for your ownership for your real estate. So I think that this information is something that you should mind. Yeah, that you should mind if you are Americans. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and lastly, okay, as I mentioned, for each year you need to pay a property tax and city planning tax, and also you need to pay a real estate acquisition tax. This is only one time. This is only for once. But if you are outside of Japan, that means you are not living in Japan. But Japanese local government, they usually when they tax people, they usually send envelope to the the Japanese people, and in those envelope, you know, and then you can use and Japanese people use you know the some document in the envelope, and then we go to like a bank or a city hall to pay these property tax and city planning taxes. We go to government and city halls Yeah, but to receive to but we need you need to receive envelope from local government. But if you are not in Japan, if you are not living in Japan, you cannot receive these envelopes from local government, which means if you are not in Japan, you cannot uh, pay your property and city planning taxes. So for to pay your taxes, you need to find attorney who pay your taxes instead of you. This attorney has to be in Japan, of course. And actually, anyone who has address in Japan can be this attorney. But I think most of the time, for foreign buyers who wanna buy Japanese real estate, you don't know anyone who live in Japan, or you don't. Most of the time you don't have friends in Japan. So for such cases, oh, by the way, I'm a real estate agent and I'm living in Japan. So such cases, I can be your attorney for paying your taxes. Yeah, of course, before I pay your taxes, you need to send your money for your taxes. You need to send me your money for your taxes. Then I pay your taxes to the Japanese local government instead of you. I think finding attorney for your tax payment is, I think this is very hard for foreign buyers to find right attorneys. But I can be your attorneys. Yeah, if you want. If you don't want, or if you know someone in Japan, or if you have some friends in Japan, and who can be your attorney, you can ask them to be your attorney. Yeah, you can ask them to be your attorney for your tax payment. But if you don't know anyone in Japan, I can be your attorney for your tax payment. So you also don't need to worry about that. Because this is very important, because if you don't pay your taxes in Japan, your real estate will be foreclosed. That means the Japanese local government will take your property, real estate property from you. This is not true only in Japan, but this is true in US or most of other countries also. So paying tax is very, very important, I think. Especially if you are not in Japan, but still you gonna pay your property or city planning taxes. Yeah, because Japanese government, they will not send. I don't know why, but they don't send uh, envelope about tax, like tax envelope to the overseas. They send envelope only in Japan. So if you are not in Japan, you cannot. I mean, if you don't have address, I mean, you are not living in Japan, you cannot receive this tax envelope from local Japanese government. So, finding attorneys are very, very important for your tax payment. Otherwise, your real estate will be foreclosed. You don't wanna. I'm sure that you don't wanna. You don't want your real estate to be foreclosed. Yep. Yeah, these are the pretty much all for all costs associated with buying Japanese real estate. Yep. Yeah. If you have hmm, yeah, if you have any question, you can put your comment, your question below, or you can send me email. If you are interested in buying Japanese real estate, you can ask me to be. You can ask me, yeah, because I can in many ways I can be your agent. I mean I can be your agent when you buy a Japanese real estate. I'm sure that I can help you in many ways, and especially if you are non-Japanese speaker. I mean, if you don't know Japanese and if you speak English, I can be your. I think I'm the one of the best. I'm sure I'm the one of the best. I can be one of the best your agent, your yeah, real estate agent in Japan. I'm sure that. So yeah. Or if you want, you can call me. You can give me a call if you want. Yeah. But yeah. But email is the best way to contact me. Yeah, if you want. Yeah. Or yeah. Or and you can you can enjoy watching my other videos here and here. And please subscribe my channel here, my YouTube channel here. Yeah. And yeah, I I, I think yeah I will create other videos relating to Japanese real estate. You know, how you can buy. Some processes, or Japanese market, or some videos about the Japanese market or Japan in general. Maybe yeah I will. I will create those videos. Yeah, in the future. So and then I will put those videos on YouTube, so you you can watch those videos. Yeah. So this is pretty much all. So I will see you guys in the next videos. Yeah. Until then, I'm out. Peace.